first of all, welcome back to the Karen Hunter Show. We're here on Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126. And since we're talking about power, I'm sitting right now in the presence of power and greatness, and I'm really happy to finally meet him face to face. I was, you guys know, enthralled by the Netflix documentary, and every day I would come in a little bit more pissed off after watching it, because I watched it over 2 days, and it just, woo. It's called Crack in the System. That's the Netflix special. But let me welcome to the show the real Rick Ross.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome.
And that was a speech to bring me in on. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I was telling you in the break, under normal circumstances, in the regular, normal world, you would be CFO of many Fortune 500 companies. Several.
And I can agree with that. I can totally agree, because basically what I heard Michelle saying on that tape, and I was a victim to that, where they make you feel inferior. You know, they make you feel dumb and stupid, and you want to be a gangbanger, and all of these things to keep you from competing with the normal people in society.
And put up air quotes around normal, because what is normal? Being who you are is normal, no matter what that looks like.
Well, let me say the people who run this country.
Right.
The people
which is abnormal. Their behavior. So when I was watching the documentary, I was saying, like, you didn't do well in school, but you were smart enough to run a ring so huge that you cut across you brought crack across the country and built an empire across the country. And I'm not glorifying it. Neither are you. Because that's some bullcrap. And at the same time, many communities were destroyed.
That was out of ignorance.
But I'm saying the genius of distribution channels and running organizations with multiple people like you, and having them all move in a way that was just powerful.
Basically being a psychologist. You know, I just met with Gary V yesterday, and he was telling me.
Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah, he gave me like I had to literally get up and walk out, because he was putting all of his meetings on hold, because our paths are so similar but different. You know, he took a different path than I did, but he had options. He had a family with an alcohol company that he could go in and say, you know what, Pops, you ain't doing this right. I didn't have that. You know, my mom was a janitor, and I wasn't gonna clean nobody toilets. You know,
right? That couldn't be your legacy.
That wasn't gonna be my legacy, cleaning toilets. It was my mom's, but I didn't want it to be mine. And had I had an opportunity to want to run a liquor company or a car wash or just something else, because I was trying these things, but not having that backing that you need to get you to that next level.
Now that you know better, and Rick Ross is here, he's got a couple books actually. Ride with Rick, The 21 Keys of Success.
Yes.
And you have your co-author in the house, Rick Ross, and Coley Crutcher. Hello, sir. Let me welcome him to the show, Coley Crutcher.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Good to see you. How'd you guys connect?
I was in prison, and you know, when I was in prison, you know, BET did the American Gangster series on me. And of course, I started getting a lot of mail from a lot of people, and I had been sitting in prison waiting for the day that somebody wrote me so that I could start giving them all of this information that I'd accumulated while I was in prison. Basically, what I found out when I was in prison is that I had allowed my community to mold and shape me. But while I was in prison, I found out that I could mold and shape myself. You know, that I could start twisting and turning the knobs and refocusing the eyes and put the lips a certain way and the mind and think about life in a way that only I thought about it. And I started to remake myself. And when I found that out, I started wanting to just share it with everybody, you know, like anybody that would listen. I was like, you know, you can shape your own life. You can decide what you want to be in life, and the neighborhood doesn't have to dictate who you are and what you stand for and what you want to be in life. And I just wanted to share it. And Coley wrote me, and he was one of the people who wrote me out of the hundreds. And I told him, I said, man, I found these books. They're great. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a real entrepreneur, you got to read these books. So he read the books, and I came home. And he brought me out to New York for his magazine. He had a magazine called Get Money, and he wanted to put me on the cover. So I came out and I went on the cover, and we built a relationship like I don't know, father, son. They say he looks like me. But we built a relationship, and he wanted to be around me. So he said, man, what if I come out to LA for a few months? Will you let me hang out with you? And I was like, come on. And so we hung out for 6 months, and I'm going to all these big meetings with the Hollywood execs who plan on buying my movie and my documentary and my book, and they offer me these crazy deals because they thinking that that I was a tap dancer. And I'm like, no, I don't tap dance. I don't rap. I'm a businessman.
I own myself now because I spent some time. How much time were you inside?
I did 20 years.
20.
Yes, but I had a life sentence without the possibility of parole. I
saw that.
So
and
20
that was
years. 20 years to me was a bargain. I was like, you only gonna give me 20? Thank you.
There's some people listening right now that are 19, right? Who can't fathom 20 years of your life.
Yeah, 20 years of my life was a long time. When I went to prison, my kids were around 6, and when I got out, they had kids that were 6.
That's so crazy.
So I missed a lot of their lives, and it was a long time. 20 years is a long time to be sitting in a box about the size of a closet. But like I said, I was fortunate enough that somebody had gave me Malcolm X's book when I first started to read. That's the first book I ever read from.
So you learned how to read in prison.
I learned how to read and write in prison, and when I read Malcolm's book, I never heard of a black man like that, and I was like, wow, we got black people to do this here, that stand up, to white people and talk to white people like this. I was like, he a bad man. I want to be like him now, because I used to want to be like Arthur Ashe, and it was Superfly, and
right, because you were a great tennis player. Probably could have been the male Venus or Serena. Had you had the opportunity. It's like
the coaching, it really comes down to getting the information to get you there. You can't go and play on the circuit with the pros if you are working with an elementary coach,
Right.
And tennis
or
is
don't
expensive.
have somebody as driven as Richard Williams.
Richard Williams. I knew Richard.
Did you?
I knew him when they was babies, yeah. My friends, guys that I played on my high school tennis team with, helped Richard with Venus and Serena when they were first starting out. Like 2 of my high school tennis mates, who are great tennis players in their own right. They helped mold Venus and Serena to get to where they're at today.
Besides reading, we're talking with Rick Ross, and I'm going to give away his autobiography, which is the Untold Autobiography, Freeway Rick Ross, by Rick Ross with Kathy Scott. Line 8, 866-801-8255, because that's all that's open. Line 8, you call, you're going to get this autobiography. I'll even have him sign it.
Yes, I will.
All right, but how did you get through 20 years? Did you think about the 20 years, or was it just one day at a time?
Well, I had a life sentence at first. So my mind said, when I wrote this book, I wrote this book, and I was in prison, and I was like, you're done. You're never going home again. You're never going to see another kid on the street. You're never going to see another 17, 18-year-old kid again. That's over with. Only ones maybe you get to see is your grandkids, because they'll allow my grandkids to come and see me. But any other 17, 18 kid, they're not coming into the prison. So you're probably never going to get to talk to any kids, teach nobody else about your story, your ventures, what you went through. And then something came to me and said, why don't you write a book and tell them everything that they need to know, so that if they thought about going down that path, if it's anybody thinking about going down that path, that they can pick up your book and they'll know exactly what to expect. And I think that that's really important. I wrestle with things like this here. Why don't our kids use rat poison? Why don't they use rat poison? I mean, if they want to destroy themselves, why don't they just go in and go all the way with it? The reason that they don't is because they've been taught not to. They've been taught that it would kill you. But when it comes down to drugs, the pills, the alcohols, and all of the drugs that our young people are taking, is because nobody's educating them the proper way that they really understand
that this is going to kill you.
Exactly.
Instead, we glorify it with wonderful commercials where everyone's on a yacht and they're raising their glasses, and they're the coolest people, and there's the models and the actors,
and they get Grammy awards.
And they get Grammy awards,
and they say,
so
this is how I did it.
Yeah.
I was on Molly's.
Yes.
I used Percocets.
Yeah. Yes.
Molly Percocets. So our kids become to believe that somebody is lying here, You know, on one hand you said don't do it, but then you play it all on your radios and it's at the schools. I walk in the school gym. And they're playing this on the PA system to our young kids. And the teachers, I don't know if the teachers know what the rap music is talking about. and then, you know, I was privileged enough one time, a principal let me speak to the faculty. And what I had to explain to them is that if you don't want to be here with the kids, you shouldn't be here. Don't just be here just to get that check. Because some of them just come to the school just to get that check. Do not care if the kids graduate, if the kids get the information or not. And I think that that's one of our sticking points here in this country.
I dabble in writing. And so for me, reading books, and like I'm an avid reader, but I know how difficult it must have been for you to write your book behind bars without computers and the editing and all of the things that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was your process, Rick?
Well, you know, I was just learning how to read and write myself, so I had a lot of help. I would pay guys bags of coffee to come in, and
bags of coffee was the trade.
That's the trade.
Coffee.
And you know what I find out about myself? It doesn't matter what the trade is. I'm always going to have whatever it takes.
Whether it's coffee, crack, whatever.
I'm going to have it. Stamps, you know, whatever the trade was inside the institution, I had that. So I had plenty of coffee. And guys helped me write my book for coffee.
Wow.
That was the trade-off. So it just, you know, it just came together where I sit down, I thought about it, and I felt like this book is a must-read. And I know nobody's really paying attention, you know, right now, none of the big people, but, you know, the street guys buying my book. I sold 37,000 books already out
by
the
yourself.
trunk of my car.
And that, let me tell you, as somebody that worked with Elin Harris, we can't depend on anybody because publishers are going to tell you, oh, the syntax is wrong, your subject-verb agreement is not correct, the way that you put a sentence together is incorrect, you know. And they'll tell you that this is not valuable because they don't know who we are.
That's what they told me. Nobody wanted to read my book.
Right. But they don't know us.
No,
they don't even know themselves. And it's time for us to start the show. And that's what I loved about Elin Harris. He went around the country as an IBM salesman selling his book, 100,000 copies out of the trunk of his car.
My man, shout out to him.
He passed away, so rest in peace. I'm saying that 37,000 right now.
Oh, I ain't done though.
No, I'm saying right now that would in publishing. 37,000 copies. Alicia Keys ain't sell that many books. I just put it out there. All right, and that's a fact. 866-801-8255. We have a winner for. It's true. We have a winner for your autobiography. Let me go to Cynthia. Cynthia, you are a winner.
What's up, Cynthia? Yes. Nice to meet you. Well, you know, the first thing that we have to do is we have to become more entrepreneurs ourselves, because our young people want to be entrepreneurs, and they're going to gravitate to whatever they see that looks promising to them, and it could be trouble, or it could be on the right track. So what I would say is that you as an individual have to become more entrepreneurish in your ability to deal with them and offer them some type of opportunity that they can see themselves grow and to get out of the community. And, you know, hit me up. I'll come down there and talk to them. You know, I love talking. I love talking to our young men. They love me. I love them.
Yeah, I see it. 21 keys of success. We're going to tweet out this. People get this. If you have anybody knuckleheadish in your life, get them this knowledge. Key number 3, be a man of the people.
Absolutely.
What does that mean?
Well, if the people don't love you, and if you don't love the people, then what is it? You know, you might as well just go off into the mountains and perish. And, you know, we can't live without each other. You know, we're created to help each other, to support each other, and to love each other.
Key number 6: gain independence by not working for money. I love this. I love it.
You know, it's crazy.
Somebody that made when I was listening to the numbers of dollars that you amassed, it was a lot. It was a lot. Like you would have been.
Watch
tipping
what I
up.
do this time.
Oh, come
Watch
on now.
what I do this time.
I was like, yo.
That was nothing. I've been working 10 years for free. I've been out of prison 10 years. I've been working 18, 19-hour days. Like in Atlanta, how much sleep we got in Atlanta? Like an hour. We pull up in the radio station. Yeah. We finished at 5:30 in the morning. We had a 7 o'clock interview. We pulled up and slept inside the car at the radio station.
For an hour and a half, and then got to it.
And I'm doing all this for no money. I ain't getting no money right now.
So what do you know that people listening don't know about putting this work in for 10 years?
Well, what most people do is they settle for a check every week. You know, they'll take. I see people that have the knowledge to make millions, but they'll sell their information to a Microsoft for $100,000 a year, or $10,000 a month, or $2,500 a week. And either way you break it down, it's the same thing. With me, with me, I say I would rather not get any money for 3 years and get $1 million in 3 years. To me, that makes more sense than getting $100,000 a year. And most people won't do that. They're not willing.
That's because we have no impulse control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we need instant gratification.
You got to see Key 16. You done read this already. Key 16. Key 16. Disdain.
Key 16. Okay.
Key 16. Disdain. Instant gratification.
Yes.
You done read this.
No, I live it. You know, because anything you do for money, you can be controlled.
You can be bought.
Exactly.
Right.
You're a slave.
Come on now,
they keep printing that money. They just keep printing. Oh, you like money? Here. And then what you do with the money? You don't even share the money with your family.
Give it right back to them.
Yeah.
And they know that. Black people spend $1 trillion and we give it right back.
I'm going to help them invest that $1 trillion.
All right.
Though.
So you got T-shirts?
I got T-shirts. I got sweatshirts. I got fighters. I got
Come on.
artists.
Where do people go to get this Rick Ross goodness?
They can get it at my website, freewayrickyross.com. I'm working on that as well. My social media. That's one of the reasons that I met with Gary Vee, because right now I'm tightening up my social media.
Yes.
I was afraid of the internet.
I know. I saw you. I was like, can he just? Who's contacted me? I want to talk directly to. Well, Rick is not really. I was like,
scared of the internet.
No,
I was scared.
20 years in, there was no internet when you went in.
I never been on a computer before, and then they had me this little phone. When when I first got my BlackBerry, I was like, how do I turn it on?
Look at you. I'm excited. Can we keep in touch?
We
like
can.
I want to have
Absolutely.
you back on next time you're in New York. I want to sit with you for an hour. I want to
Let's do it.
get with you.
Let's do it. And you got to go read my obituary. You know, LA Magazine wrote my obituary, right?
What?
They wrote my obituary. I got to read my own obituary. You know, most people don't get to do that. I'm like one of the rarest people in the world to get to read their own obituary. So you got to go read that. It's called LA Magazine, Rick Ross's Dreaming.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, so much for being here. Nice
Thank
to meet you, Coley.
Coley.
Damn it. My grandfather's name was Coley, but it was spelled differently. It was spelled with a C. Coley Crutcher, Rick Ross. Love you. Love you guys.
You too.